I almost didn't go. No joke. I stared at that engagement invitation like it personally owed me money. My sister's name was printed in gold lettering, fancy font, the kind that screams, "We made it." And right under it, my parents' names, smiling. Proud. Like they hadn't spent half my life pretending I was invisible. See, growing up, I was the other kid. Not the golden child. Not the one everyone bragged about at church. That was my sister. Straight A's, cheer captain, married her college sweetheart. Meanwhile, I was the phase. The figure it out daughter. The one my parents always said, "Why can't you be more like your sister?" So when my mom called and said, "Make sure you dress nice. This hotel is upscale," I already knew what time it was. Translation. Don't embarrass us. I stood in my tiny apartment that night, staring at my reflection. I wasn't broke. But I wasn't ballin' either. I worked hard, paid my bills, kept my peace. But to my parents, if you weren't flashy, you were failing. Almost texted an excuse. Car trouble. Work emergency. Sudden flu. But something in me snapped. Nah, I wasn't gonna hide anymore. So I pulled out my best dress. Clean. Elegant. No labels screaming for attention. I paired it with heels I'd saved up for. Because yes, grown adults save for nice things, and grabbed my coat. When I walked into that hotel, woo, crystal chandeliers, marble floors, valet parking packed with luxury cars. The kind of place where people whisper even when they're happy. And the second my parents saw me, the looks, my mom scanned me head to toe, lips tight. My dad leaned back and muttered, "That's what you're wearing." Then my sister, glowing, diamond ring catching every light, smiled that fake sweet smile and said, "Wow, you actually came." That's when the mocking started. Little comments, side whispers, laughs that weren't jokes. My mom told an aunt right in front of me, "She's still trying to find herself." My dad joked, "At least she didn't show up in sneakers." They laughed. I smiled. Because what they didn't know, I wasn't the least important person in that room, not even close. And in about an hour, everything they thought they knew about me was about to fall apart. The mocking didn't stop. If anything, it got louder once the drink started flowing. You know how it goes. People get a little too honest after champagne number 2. And my parents, they were in rare form. We were standing near the engagement backdrop, that over-the-top floral wall made for Instagram clout, when my mom clinked her glass and said, "Isn't it amazing what happens when you stay focused and make the right choices?" Her eyes flicked toward me, real quick. Real intentional. A couple of relatives turned and looked at me like I was part of the punchline. Someone chuckled. Someone else nodded like, "Yeah, we know which kid she's talking about." My sister leaned over and whispered, "No offense, but I didn't think you'd be comfortable in a place like this." Ouch. That one hit harder than I expected. Not because it was true, but because she wanted it to hurt. I felt my face heat up. My hands clenched around my clutch. Every instinct in me screamed to snap back, to remind her that comfort doesn't come from chandeliers or overpriced appetizers. But I stayed quiet. Because sometimes silence is the loudest flex. Then my dad decided to turn me into the night's entertainment. He laughed and said to a group of my sister's fiancé's family, "This one. Yeah, she's our free spirit. Still figuring things out. Free spirit. That's rich, coming from a man who measures success by job titles and tax brackets." Someone asked, "So what do you do?" Before I could even answer, my mom jumped in. "Oh, nothing too serious yet. Nothing too serious." I smiled through it, smiled like I wasn't being slowly erased in real time. Inside though, I was spiraling. I started questioning myself. Did I mess up? Should I have tried harder to impress them? Was I actually behind in life? You know that voice? The one that sounds like your parents but lives in your head rent-free. I excused myself and headed toward the hallway near the elevators, just to breathe. The music faded. The laughter dulled. My heels echoed against the marble floor. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around, half expecting another snide comment. But instead, it was a hotel staff member. Sharp suit. Professional posture. Calm energy. He smiled and said, "Mom, excuse me? We've been looking for you." "Mom." "Not miss." "Not hey you." I blinked. "My. Yes, ma'am, he said politely. The manager asked me to find you. My heart dropped. My first thought, oh no. Did I break some unspoken rich people rule? Did my parents complain about me? I glanced back toward the ballroom where my family was still laughing. They had no idea what was about to happen, and neither did I. But one thing was clear. Whatever was coming next was about to flip the entire night upside down. I followed him. Down that long, quiet hallway where every step felt heavier than the last. My heels clicked against the floor like a countdown. My stomach was doing backflips. I kept replaying everything in my head. Did I say something wrong? Was my name on a list? Did my parents complain that I didn't fit the vibe? The staff member stopped near a set of double doors and turned to me. Right this way, ma'am. Again with the ma'am. He opened the door. The hotel manager. Mid-40s maybe. Tailored suit. Confident but not flashy. The kind of man who doesn't need to raise his voice to be in charge. He was standing near a table stacked with folders, speaking quietly to another employee. The moment he saw me, he smiled. Not a fake customer service smile either. This one felt respectful. Good evening, ma'am, he said, stepping forward. Thank you for coming. I froze. Of course, I replied. Is there a problem? He actually looked confused for a second. A problem? Oh no, not at all. Then he said something that made my brain short circuit. We just wanted to personally welcome you and make sure everything is to your satisfaction. I blinked. Hard. My satisfaction. Yes, ma'am, he said again. After all, this event wouldn't be possible without you. Without me. I swear my heart skipped a beat. I laughed nervously. I think you might have the wrong person. He chuckled, shook his head, and opened one of the folders. No mistake at all. He read my name out loud. My full name. The same name my parents had been mocking just minutes ago. We wanted to thank you for choosing our hotel for your family's engagement celebration. He continued. Your arrangements were very specific, and I must say, your attention to detail is impressive. My ear started ringing. Arrangements. I hadn't arranged anything, had I? Then it hit me. Hard. Flashback. 3 months earlier, my sister had called me in a panic. The venue she wanted was booked. Everything she liked was either unavailable or way over budget. My parents didn't want to help financially, but they wanted the credit. So I stepped in. Quietly. I made calls, pulled favors, negotiated rates, put down a deposit, my deposit, to lock in the hotel ballroom. I told them not to mention my name. I didn't want drama. I didn't want attention. I just wanted my sister to have her moment. And now, the hotel manager was looking at me like I was the VIP. We also upgraded several services at no extra cost. He continued. A courtesy extended to you, of course. My mouth went dry. Back in the ballroom, my parents were probably still cracking jokes. Still acting like I was the family disappointment. They had no clue. The manager gestured toward the doors. You'd like, ma'am, I'd be happy to escort you back in. Escort me? Suddenly, my nerves turned into something else. Confidence. Because I realized something right then. I didn't need to explain myself. I didn't need to defend my choices. The truth, it was about to walk into that room before I did. The doors opened. And just like that, the noise of the ballroom rushed back in. Music humming, glasses clinking, people laughing like nothing in the world was wrong. Except everything was about to be. The hotel manager stepped out first. Tall, confident, commanding attention without saying a word. People noticed him immediately. Conversations slowed. Heads turned. You don't ignore someone like that in a room like this. And then, he paused, turned back, and held the door open for me. Right this way. Loud enough for people nearby to hear. I walked in. And I swear, you could feel the shift. My parents were standing near the center table, mid-conversation. My mom was laughing too hard at something my sister's future mother-in-law said. My dad had a drink in his hand, chest puffed out like he owned the place. Then my mom saw me. Her smile faded. But because of me. But because of who was standing beside me. The hotel manager approached my parents with a polite nod. Good evening, he said. I just wanted to personally thank you all for being here tonight. My mom's smile snapped back on instantly. Oh yes! Thank you for hosting us. This place is beautiful. He smiled, but didn't look at her. Instead, he turned to me. And of course, he said, raising his voice just enough, a special thank you to you, ma'am, for coordinating everything. Silence. The kind that makes your ears ring. My dad frowned. Coordinating everything. The manager nodded. Yes, Mom here handled the booking, the upgrades, and the guest arrangements. She's been an absolute pleasure to work with. My mom's face went pale. My sister's smile froze. Someone behind us whispered, "Wait, she did this." My dad cleared his throat. Oh well, she didn't mention that. The manager chuckled politely. She didn't ask for recognition. But we believe in giving credit where it's due. I could feel eyes on me from every direction. Aunties, cousins, in-laws, strangers, all looking at me like they were seeing me for the first time. My sister finally spoke, her voice tight. You booked the hotel. I met her eyes. Yeah, I said calmly. I did. The manager added, and as a token of appreciation, we've prepared a small gesture. He snapped his fingers, and a staff member approached with a tray. Champagne. Top shelf. The manager handed a glass to me first. To you, ma'am, he said, for your generosity. My mom tried to laugh it off. Well, isn't that something? But her voice shook. Because for the first time ever, I wasn't the afterthought. I wasn't the embarrassment. I wasn't still figuring things out. I was the reason this night existed. And they all knew it. After the champagne moment, things got awkward fast. Like painfully awkward. Conversations restarted, but quieter. Forced. People kept sneaking glances at me like I was a plot twist they didn't see coming. The same relatives who had laughed earlier. Now they were nodding at me. Smiling too hard. Suddenly interested in my life. Funny how respect shows up once the truth does. My parents pulled me aside near the dessert table. My mom grabbed my arm. Not rough, but not gentle either. Why didn't you tell us? She asked, voice low but sharp. I took a breath. Tell you what? That I helped. You never asked. My dad crossed his arms. You should have said something. You let us look stupid. I almost laughed. I let you look stupid. No, I said quietly. You did that all on your own. That's when my mom's eyes softened. Just a little. We didn't know you were doing so well. There it was. Not sorry. Not we were wrong. Just surprise. I looked at them and realized something that hurt more than all the mocking combined. They didn't know me at all. I am doing well, I said. I always have been. You just never bothered to see it. My sister joined us, arms folded, jaw tight. So you just did this to embarrass us? I shook my head. No, I did it to help you. The fact that you're embarrassed says more about you than me. She looked away. For a second, I thought maybe, just maybe, this would turn into a real moment. Breakthrough. An apology that mattered. Instead, my mom sighed and said, well, we didn't mean anything by it. The classic line. The one people use when they absolutely meant it, but don't want to own it. Something in me settled right then. I didn't need their approval anymore. I didn't need them to clap for me, brag about me, or finally put me on the pedestal they built for my sister. I had already built my own. The rest of the night, I enjoyed it. I talked to people who treated me like a human being. I laughed. I drank my champagne. I danced a little, and for the first time at a family event, I felt free. Because I finally understood this truth. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't have to flex to be successful. And you definitely don't need validation from people who only see your worth when someone else points it out. The hotel manager passed by once more and nodded at me. Have a wonderful evening, Mom. And that word, Mom, it hit different now. Later that night, after most of the guests were deep into the dance floor or lining up for desserts, I stepped outside onto the hotel terrace. Cool air, city lights, quiet. I needed that moment to let everything sink in. All my life, I'd measured myself through my parents' eyes. Their disappointment, their comparisons, their silence when I succeeded, and loud opinions when I didn't do things their way. And standing there, I realized something wild. I had been winning for a long time. I just never got a trophy for it. A woman about my age stepped onto the terrace beside me. One of my sister's fiance's cousins. She smiled and said, "Can I just say, that was iconic." I laughed. "Iconic, yes," she said. "The way you handled all that. Calm, classy, deadly. Deadly. That word stuck with me." She leaned on the railing. "My family's the same way. They only respect success when it looks expensive." I nodded. "Yeah, same." We talked for a bit. About work, life, boundaries, healing. The kind of conversation you don't usually get at engagement parties. Before she went back inside, she said something I'll never forget. "Don't shrink yourself just because other people need to feel tall." Woo. That hit me right in the chest. When I went back in, my parents barely spoke to me. My sister avoided eye contact. And honestly, I was okay with that. Because for the first time, I wasn't craving their validation. I wasn't waiting for a hug, an apology, or a, "We're proud of you." I had outgrown that need. As the night wrapped up, guests started leaving. Hugs, thank yous. More than a few people pulled me aside to say things like, "Your family must be so proud." Or, "You really put this together." I just smiled. Let them think what they want. On my way out, the hotel manager stopped me one last time. "Ma'am," he said warmly, "if you ever need anything, events, accommodations, anything at all, please reach out directly." He handed me his card. Direct line. No middlemen. No gatekeepers. I thanked him and walked out into the night, heels in hand, head high. As I got into my car, I caught my reflection in the mirror. And for the first time, I didn't see the less successful daughter. I didn't see the family joke. I didn't see the comparison. I saw a woman who showed up quietly and left unforgettable. The next morning, my phone started buzzing before I'd even finished my coffee. First call. My mom. Second call. My dad, ignored. Then came the texts. "We need to talk. Call us when you have a minute." Last night got misunderstood. Misunderstood. I finally sighed and answered on the fourth call. "Hello." My mom's voice came through softer than I'd ever heard it. "We just wanted to check in." "Check in?" "Right. I'm fine," I said. There was a pause. Then my dad cleared his throat. "We didn't realize how much you contributed." I leaned back against my couch, staring at the ceiling. "That's because you never asked," I replied. My mom jumped in quickly. "Well, we always knew you were capable." Another pause. "Capable. Not we're proud. Not we're sorry." I told them calmly. What hurt wasn't last night. It was everything before it. Silence. Then my dad said something that surprised me. "We might have been too hard on you." Might have. I didn't push it. Healing doesn't happen all at once. Sometimes it starts with cracked doors, not open arms. Later that day, my sister called. I almost didn't answer. But I did. Her voice sounded tired. "I didn't know," she said. "About the hotel. About all of it?" "I know," I replied. She sighed. "I guess I got used to being the one they focused on." That was the closest thing to honesty I'd ever heard from her. "I never wanted to compete with you," I said. "I just wanted to exist without being compared." She didn't respond right away. Then she said quietly, "I'm sorry. That one. That mattered. Not because it fixed everything, but because it was real." After we hung up, I sat there thinking about how funny life is. The same people who laughed at you yesterday will call you tomorrow asking how you did it. And the wild part, you don't owe them access to the new version of you. That night, I saved the hotel manager's card in my contacts. Not because I needed it, but because it reminded me of something important. The world will often see your value before your own family does. And that's okay. A few days passed, and life went back to normal. Or at least a new normal. I went back to work, ran errands, paid bills, same routine, same city, same apartment, but something inside me, different. I stopped replaying old conversations in my head. Stopped wondering what I should have said, how I could have dressed better, or why I wasn't enough for my parents. Because that night at the hotel exposed a truth I'd been dodging for years. I wasn't invisible. I was just underestimated. And honestly, that's a powerful place to be. See, when people underestimate you, they don't watch your moves. They don't prepare for your growth. They don't see you coming. My parents spent so much time focusing on appearances, they missed the substance. My sister was the highlight reel. I was the behind-the-scenes work that made things happen. And that used to hurt, until I realized behind the scenes people run the show. I started thinking about all the moments in my life where I stayed quiet, where I helped without credit, where I chose peace over proving a point. That wasn't weakness. That was discipline. That was confidence before it had a name. I also realized something else. Something I wish someone had told me years ago. Family doesn't always clap when you win. Sometimes they only notice when a stranger does. And that hurts, but it also frees you. Because once you stop performing for approval, you start living for yourself. I didn't suddenly become cold or distant. I just became intentional. I set boundaries. I stopped oversharing. I let people earn access to me. And funny enough, people treated me better. Not because I changed who I was, but because I finally believed in who I already was. That hotel manager calling me ma'am wasn't about status. It was about energy. Respect recognizes respect. That's something my parents never understood. They thought success was loud. I learned it's calm. They thought power was dominance. I learned its presence. And now, I walk differently. I speak differently. I don't rush to explain myself. Because the right people don't need explanations. They just see you. A week before the wedding, my mom invited me to lunch. Just the two of us. That alone told me something was different. We sat at a quiet cafe. No audience, no relatives. No pressure to perform. She stirred her coffee longer than necessary, then finally looked up at me. I didn't realize how much pressure we put on you, she said. I waited. She continued. We thought pushing you would motivate you. There it was again. Intent over impact. But this time, I wasn't angry. I didn't need pushing. I said calmly. I needed support. Her eyes watered. I see that now. And for the first time in my life, I believed her meant it. Not because she suddenly became the perfect parent, but because I no longer needed her to. That lunch wasn't about forgiveness. It was about release. I stopped holding on to the version of my parents I wished they were, and accepted who they actually were. Flawed, human, limited, and once I did that, the weight lifted. At the wedding, I wasn't anxious. I wasn't waiting for jabs or side comments. I sat in the front row, dressed simply, confident, present. My sister caught my eye during the ceremony and smiled. This time real. Later, during the reception, the hotel manager recognized me again and nodded respectfully. No announcements. No spotlight. Just acknowledgement. And that was enough. Because validation feels different when you're no longer desperate for it. That night, as I watched my sister dance with her new husband, I felt something unexpected. Peace. Not bitterness. Not regret. Just peace. I had stepped out of the shadow I didn't even realize I was standing in. And I knew something for sure, no one would ever mock me like that again. Not because they changed, but because I did. If you've ever been the quiet one in your family, the one who helps behind the scenes, the one they don't brag about, the one who gets compared, overlooked, or joked about at the dinner table, this story, it's not just mine. It's yours too. See, not everyone's journey looks good on social media. Not everyone peaks early. Some people build slowly, intentionally, without noise. And those people, they last. That night at my sister's engagement didn't make me successful. It revealed what was already there. The mocking didn't break me. It exposed who needed growth, and the hotel manager calling me mom. That wasn't about money or status. It was about respect. Respect for how I carried myself. Respect for how I moved quietly but confidently. Respect for the work I did when no one was watching. Here's the real truth nobody tells you. People who underestimate you are giving you an advantage. They won't compete with you. They won't block your path. They won't see your win coming. So if you're in a season where you feel unseen, uncelebrated, or underestimated, don't rush to prove anything. Build, learn, grow, and let life introduce you properly. Because one day, someone will speak your value out loud in a room full of people who doubted you. And when that happens, you won't need to say a word. If this story hit close to home, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Because stories like this remind us that quiet strength always wins. And remember, you don't need their applause. You need your peace. And that's priceless.